Assassin's Creed Mirage is a direct response to the heavy criticisms laid from Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, namely being that they are huge, sprawling, open-world RPGs that take 100 plus hours to complete. The goal with Assassin's Creed Mirage was to bring the game back to a more classic feel while also keeping the modern enhancements that the newer Assassin's Creed titles have introduced previously. Does Assassin's Creed Mirage achieve those goals? Well, stick around and let's find out. Hello and welcome to Xbox Icons. In this review, we're going to talk about the gameplay, open world, and story of Assassin's Creed Mirage. First and foremost, there are a few things that need to be acknowledged before we move forward with this video. Assassin's Creed Mirage was intended originally to be DLC that was added on to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The developer, Ubisoft's excuse for reasoning of why this is a standalone release is because that the game grew too big in scope to be considered just DLC. Personally, I think that this was released as a standalone game because Ubisoft needed a title to release this year for specifically financial reasons. And they were hoping that once they got the title released, that it would sell more as its own game, aside from being tacked on DLC to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, with that in mind, moving forward, I'd like to discuss the gameplay changes made to the game. Assassin's Creed Mirage allows you to blend into the crowd with stealth. You can sit on benches. They've reintroduced pickpocketing. They've also reintroduced one-hit kill assassinations. So whoever you're going after doesn't matter. There's no power levels. There's no gear score. It's a simple one-hit kill. The game's parkour system, while still having the problems that Valhalla's does because it is clearly built on that engine, is pretty good. The city is designed well enough that you can parkour back and forth. You never actually have to set foot on the ground if you don't want to. Missions will have you do this though, but if you were just running from one end of Baghdad to the other, you technically don't ever have to touch the ground. That is just how well integrated the city's been built, specifically for parkour. There are some new animations. Basim does run faster than Eivor did in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and the crowd reacts to you depending on what you've done in the city in an appropriate way. If you're going around killing indiscriminately, the crowd is going to panic when they see you. They're going to run away from you, and they're going to point you out to the guards, and that plays into your notoriety system. The more that you do to get noticed, the more you will be noticed by guards and by other people that are just walking throughout the city, the NPCs. As mentioned previously, the RPG and leveling mechanics from the previous titles has been removed. While you can upgrade weapons and gear to do more damage or to have specific perks like being silent when it comes to taking down enemies with assassinations or having time slow down slightly when performing a parrying attack, the RPG stuff is all but absent here. And while I am personally happy about that, nothing is level gated. Something that previously bothered me in specifically Assassin's Creed Odyssey was you would start a quest line that would be a recommendation of level 15 and you would be level 16, but then by the time you got to the end of it, you hadn't built up enough XP or levels in order to complete it because the final boss would be about 10 levels higher than what you were supposed to be doing the quest at to begin with, which never made any sense to me why they would have an end boss that was such a higher level than what the recommendation was for starting the quest. All of that is gone. You can explore the map freely without worrying about being level gated with enemies that will come after you that you have absolutely no hope of defeating, or missions that are going to keep you out. The game is filled with costumes and different outfits that you can wear, along with different swords and daggers to find throughout the world. The way to level these up, though, unfortunately, isn't just as simple as it was previously, where you just had to have the materials to upgrade your weapons. Now you also need an upgrading blueprint, and those are found scattered around the world in these giant gold chests. Now, this does kind of make its way back from the RPG games where you will be collecting loot through these chests, going through bases, finding keys. The Bird Companion makes its return here in the game and has a much better functionality than it ever did in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This returns the bird back to being an integral part of planning missions and stealthing around the city of Baghdad. You're going to be able to mark enemies. You're going to be able to find chests and things that you're going to need. You're going to get the precise location, which is different than it worked in Valhalla. Valhalla gave you a very just roundabout area, and you were forced to trudge through the area that was highlighted while looking. That's no longer the case here. Combat has been simplified down from the previous titles. No longer are you the hulking tank that you were in Valhalla or the agile fighters that you were in Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey. You are now much weaker. You can take way less damage even after upgrading your armor and outfits and your health through perks. You still take way more damage than what you dish out. And the reason for this being is they want you to use the gadgets that you are given in the game. Now, when you first start the game out and you don't have any gadgets, or you only have one gadget, you can feel pretty weak. But the more you go through the city, completing contracts, completing missions, you'll be given access to tools that you can then upgrade that will then also completely change the combat field for you. While you are weaker and you can really only take out maybe 1 or 2 guys at a time, if you have any more than that, at one point I had 5 people chasing me, and then I ran into a guard outpost and had probably 20 enemy NPCs running through the city after me. You can throw down a smoke bomb and you can instantly assassinate anybody in the smoke bomb area. You can also modify the smoke bombs to either give you more health or to do poison damage. You can also modify your throwing knives to slow time for when you're jumping from a distance. And then you're also given the ability very early on that you can't really overuse because you have to build it up through the meter that is indicated in the lower left corner. And you can have basically what is a teleport assassination, where you can mark enemies and then instantly 1, 2, 3 take them all out very quickly. And if you plan this properly, you can also throw a knife, you can drop a smoke bomb, you can assassinate people and then teleport around and take out a bunch of people all at once. And on that final note with combat, something that I feel like they either need to tune through a patch or just remove altogether is the stamina bar. The stamina bar is not able to be upgraded, and you run out of stamina entirely, in my opinion, way too quickly. Again, I know they want you to rely on the gadgets that you have in order to really make your way through the combat scenarios, but there were a lot of times when I was trying to parry an attack or dodge out of the way, and because I ran out of the very little amount of stamina that they give you, I thought that maybe my controller was dying or that there was an issue with the game. It was only later on that I realized that I didn't have any stamina left. And with the other nerfs to combat, I feel like them removing the stamina bar or giving you an option to disable it permanently would go a long way in making the combat feel a lot better. The story really is nothing special. It is the origin story for Basim, and if you do not know who he is a character that shows up in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm not going to spoil the story here, but aside from some cutscenes in the very beginning and then cutscenes at the very, very end of the game, there's really not a whole lot of interest here. It's a lot of political intrigue, so if that is your thing, then that's something to look forward to. But it doesn't really give you many characters that you remember. I found myself constantly skipping through some conversations just to get to start the mission so that I know that who I'm going to kill. And when it comes to the list of people that you're going to assassinate and the flow of the game, essentially what you're going to do is you have investigations to find out who it is that you're going to assassinate. You assassinate 2 or 3 people, and then you move on to the big bad of the area, the district of the city that you're in, and then you rinse and repeat. And again, there's not really anything that ties all of these together other than just they're the overarching bad guy group that you have to take care of. And while I'm okay with that, I do know fans of the series that wanted something that was a little more involved. But then again, this comes back to what I said in the very beginning of this video. This was always meant to be DLC, not its own standalone game. So when they were designing these missions, they can be done in any order. They don't interconnect with each other. The dialogue and characters are kind of boring. It's just, this is who you need to go look for. This is why they're bad. Go take care of them. So overall, while they didn't completely redefine the stealth genre with this game that I know so many people were hoping that they were going to do, this is, through and through, a classic experience with more modern movement when it comes to Assassin's Creed. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla for over 100 hours across the Xbox and PlayStation platform, and I had more fun with this small experience in the 22 hours that I played it than I did in the 100+ hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It is a game that if you like the previous titles and you like the original games as well, I think that this is a perfect blend of both of them. Is the game perfect? Absolutely not. But if you are a fan of the classic Assassin's Creed or even the newer titles with Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins, this is a game that I would most certainly recommend that you play. As always, to have your voice heard and be part of the conversation, let me know what you think about Assassin's Creed in the comments section down below. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. I upload content weekly. And until next time, I'll see all of you in the next video.